Hello everyone, welcome to the Deadite plus Zoe channel. Right now we're doing a Bloodborne guide on advanced note writing. The better notes that you leave other players, the greater chance for your note to be rated fine by other players, and because this instantly refills your HP bar, this can really help you at some crucial points in the game. Hit R1 on the screen to toggle a much greater variety of options for you to use and to really allow you to write some elaborate and ingenious notes. So when the tool opens up, you'll really see a great and wide variety of pre-made phrases, words, conjunctions, and there's even an area to add an emote that your character will display when your note is viewed. So now we're going to cover how and where to leave your notes, and really how and where not to leave your notes. We want to help maximize the success of your notes and how beneficial they are to others. As you learn from your travels, make sure to take that time to let others know what did and did not work for you. As an example, in this particular instance, we found that using a lure tactic was the best way to pull out these dangerous poisonous creatures to ensure that we were not overwhelmed before nabbing that item. So once you complete an area successfully or unsuccessfully, really just take that extra time to retrace your steps and forewarn other players of the dangers ahead. So here's an example of poor note placement. The reading player may or may not take the advice, but you want to make sure the player can double back easily to rate the message. Or better yet, finding a placement for a note that requires a player to double back, giving them an opportunity to rate your message. This note may or may not have been slightly helpful, but it is not a recommended way to leave a note. Another example of a note that is poorly placed is a vague message before a shortcut or an elevator. Yes, these can be very helpful, but after the player has realized that your note was helpful, they are whisked away to an area away from your note. A better way to place a note in this type of area is by placing it at the end of the elevator, where the player is feeling proud of themselves and relieved by the realization of the shortcut that they have just stumbled upon. This makes the player feel better about themselves and the hardships they just went through to reach this area, and in turn will usually be more generous in throwing a fine rating in your way. In our last example, we see a slightly helpful message, but it lacks the depth to tell us the full story of what awaits us as we traverse to that wondrous cookie we see over there. So what was thought to have been a helpful message from the previous adventure turned out to actually have our character meet his demise due to the unforeseen danger that awaited him. Make sure to elaborate as much as possible in your notes to give the other players as much warning as you can in your two-phrase messages that you leave behind. Many times it is more helpful to acknowledge what is not seen to the player as opposed to what is seen. Even if you scrape by a situation yourself, make sure to always take that time to go back to help your fellow adventurers, because they may not have been as lucky as you. In closing, we have one last little trick for you. Open up your notes written screen and you can browse through your current and active notes. You can actually protect a popular one of your notes from being overwritten by pressing the square button on the note. You can also delete your notes, but it is actually more advantageous to just use the protect feature to save the notes that you want, and then the messages you do not want will just naturally be overwritten as you make more notes down the line. Deadite and I hope this was informative and will better your chances as well as others in your survival through Yharnam. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and rate this note fine if you want more Bloodborne content. Thanks.